One of the main problems today facing our new generation and the generations to come that has been a growing problem for the past few decades is global warming, mass extinction, rising of the ocean levels, and rising prices of gas. So one easy way to combat all these problems is actually nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is the energy source of the future, and it's able to save the world, reduce the cost of living, and it's actually able to reverse some of the effects that have happened due to climate change. It's able to do this through new development, through several new types of reactors. It's actually able to reuse the wasted uranium that has been spent already on nuclear energy, and it's able to reverse many of the problems that pollution has caused. So due to new research of types of reactors, there has actually been ways that the reactors are able to reuse the spent uranium to continue to use them for as long as another 50 to 60 years after they've already been used. So there's three new types of nuclear reactors that are in development right now. There are fast reactors, module reactors, and fusion reactors. So how fast reactors work is they produce 60 to 70 times more energy than the current nuclear reactors being used. They're done in a closed cell, which means all of the energy is spent in and you never really have to open it, and there's no risk of there being a energy leak or wasted energy being escaped. So obviously, because it's a closed cell, all the energy or all the uranium is still inside, and they're actually able to reuse that uranium and can re-enrich it, allowing a longer life period for the reactor. So most of the fast cell reactors are classified by the coolant that they use. So there are salt, gas, and lead coolants. So for the sodium or the salt ones, it's significantly more operational. It's a lot easier for us to produce them, and they're still very efficient, but they can be more efficient. And right now, gas and lead reactors are still under development, but it's estimated that they're able to produce almost twice as much as fast reactors. So module reactors, the second type of reactor, module stands for serial, which means mass production. So mass production means that they're very cheap to make, they're very economically sound, and they're able to be sent to other nations that can't really afford some of these newer, more elaborate and expensive nuclear reactors, which means many third world countries that are still relying on coal and natural gases are able to get into the market of nuclear energy and more renewable energy. So then the third type is fusion reactors. So fusion reactors are still under development. So how it works is there's two small nuclei that are formed into one. They're fused into one. So right now, the type of nuclear reactors that we're using today are fission reactors, where the atom actually splits. So this is done through combining the two nucleuses. So this is actually how the stars create energy. They're able to take the two nucleuses, and it's much more energy that is produced through fusion than there is through fission. And it's actually considered that the development of fusion reactors will be the greatest challenge of the 21st century. So another type of reactor are reactors called traveling wave reactors. So a company named TerraPower started about 10 years ago. It was founded by Bill Gates, and they haven't produced any of these reactors yet, but that's fine because they're able to keep researching it because they're funded by one of the richest men in the world. So how the traveling wave reactors plan on working is they plan on using the same style that the fast reactors use within the closed cell. They're able to use spent energy, but the main difference between the traveling wave reactors and the fast reactors is that you're able to open up the traveling wave reactors and put in more uranium that has already been spent. So rather than just having one fast reactor that once all the uranium is used up after a certain period of time, you have to get a new one. In comparison to this other type of reactor where once your uranium is spent, you're able to put in new uranium that will allow it to keep going. So because of the uranium that they're using, most people think of uranium and nuclear waste as incredibly dangerous and harmful for the environment. But through the research, they actually have found that low enriched uranium is actually very safe, and it's safe enough to the point where you can hold it in your hands. While in comparison to high enriched uranium that has been used, that is incredibly dangerous, that was what was used at Chernobyl during that nuclear disaster. So actually, through these the low enriched uranium, they're actually able to keep on reusing it, and they're able to put it back in and re-enrich it, and then once that's spent, they'll swap it out and put some of the new or some of the older uranium back into it, and the uranium that is in it right now will actually re-enrich it. It'll actually make it more reactive, allowing us to get more power out of it than we previously had. And so because of that, they're actually able to reduce the amount of waste. And so according to the MIT, 40% of energy produced by fossil fuels is responsible for 40% of climate change and greenhouse gases. While that's just through the world, while in the United States, 90% of our emissions and greenhouse gases is actually through that. So, and it's only 52% of the energy that is actually produced. So it creates 90% of emissions while it's only creating 52% of the power that we actually use. So nuclear power plants are capable of producing 100 gigawatts of electricity, which is very high, but the MIT and companies like TerraPower from Bill Gates are actually looking to triple that. And by the mid-century, they're planning on being able to produce at least 300 gigawatts per reactor. And so because of this, because the entire world is more and more concerned about global warming and climate change by the growing day, many governments have actually started to give tax credits to these companies that are creating and researching the nuclear reactors within the private sector. So because of that, many of these new businesses and researchers are coming forward and joining the pro-nuclear movement, hoping to create a more sustainable future. And because it's also really cheap right now, or it's cheap to research it and produce it because of the government's offering tax credits and offering them grants to make this. So due to new developments and more effective techniques and more research, I believe that nuclear power is actually able to reverse and reduce because of the problems that have been plaguing the world for the past few decades that have been in concerns of climate change and rising ocean temperatures and mass extinction. I believe our solution for it is actually very simple, and it's just nuclear power. It's just two nucleuses being split or being fused together. So, yeah.